Well, you're not going to believe the latest news on the Boston terror suspects. You, the hardworking taxpayer, may have been picking up their tab. Yep, Massachusetts state officials have confirmed that 26-year-old Tamerlan Tsarnaev, who was killed in a shootout with police, was living on taxpayer-funded welfare up until last year. So, in fact, both brothers grew up on welfare with their parents in Massachusetts. So there you have it. Taxpayers potentially funding jihad. Greg, this brother was living off welfare with his wife. Also, both brothers, I should say, grew up on welfare. If he could get in a boxing ring and if he could slug it out, don't you think he could maybe get a job?
Well, I mean, let's face it, a lot of criminals in the United States are on welfare, so this isn't a big surprise. But we've heard of state-sponsored terror. The United States is now a state that sponsors terror. It sponsors its own terror. And frankly, welfare is no different than tenure. We already sponsor terrorists with Bill Ayers, Bernadette Dorn, Kathy Bodine. They were involved in death, more death. They exchanged their pipe bombs for pipes. By the way, I just want to point out that this is kind of a symbol of what's been happening in Europe. You have intense pockets of Muslim supremacy in Europe. England, France, also in Australia. They let it happen. Bigots leave their countries because they're horrible, and then they come to countries and make them horrible. And this is what America is doing. It's a symbol of a decline derived from a rejection of exceptionalism. We are becoming exactly what Europe is.
But here's the worst part. Oh, he's not a citizen. That was bad, Greg. Thank you for part one. Part two, Kimberly, he was here on a green card. So can we officially say, if you are here on green cards, no government money? Can we say that?
Well, but see, this is the problem. We become soft, we become weak, and the other countries are mocking us. I'd come here, too. Who doesn't want a free ride? I mean, I want to ride in the carnival for free all day long and put my whole family on welfare. It's an abuse of the system. Nobody wants to take a hard look at the entitlement system to see what it is. Now it's terrorists are entitled to become radicalized and do harm to American citizens. This makes me so angry, and they hate America, but yet they're getting scholarships, getting the benefit of a great education, starting families here, and we're the problem.
And time off, Eric, to sit on their couch and build bombs with our money.
And here's the part of the immigration debate that needs to come up. This guy, Tamerlan, came over on a refugee clause in the immigration policy, which basically says if you're asking for political asylum, you can get welfare benefits. A typical green card recipient would have to wait about 5 years to start to get welfare recipient. He got it right away. In Massachusetts, Department of Transitional Assistance, he likely got Section 8 housing, mass transit cards, EBT cards. He got a public defender for his domestic violence offense in 2009, and now Johar, the one who's living, is going to get a hugely popular, well-known public defender as well. He had scholarships. Enough is enough. We really need to revamp the immigration policy and our welfare policy.
Well, that's what you put your finger on it. This is the law. I mean, you may not like it, you may not agree with it, but it is the law, and so the law's got to change.
Do you agree?
Sure, but I also agree that Cubans, for example, who automatically, if they get to this country, have benefits because of back in the 60s, we were so outraged by Castro. I mean, everybody's got exceptions here, and that's one of the problems.
You made news this week. You stunned not just the four of us, but you stunned the world when you came out and you said, let's put a moratorium on students coming here from Muslim countries. How about when it applies to welfare? Would you take the same tack?
Well, first of all, the welfare reform bill it was a long step down that road, and it was done by the Republicans and the Congress and by Bill Clinton. But listen, the same thing with the immigration bill. This immigration bill, if it goes through the Senate bill, there will be a time out when anybody got here through 11 can then get in that program, and then after that, nobody gets in. Not for a period of time. And I think that makes sense. That's why I said about Muslims. I think we need a time to get a breath.
But what about supervising welfare programs, Kimberly? I mean, look, the devil finds work for idle hands. And this is a prime example of that. What are we doing? We've also given, if you look at the numbers, over $20 million to Chechnya over the years. If you look at the budget request for this year, this is going to really make you angry. Pakistan, $2.2 billion. Egypt, $1.6 billion. Pakistan. Sorry about that.
Get a letter from the administration.
Like the president. Yemen, $72.6 million. Algeria, $3 million. These are countries that hate us.
We're the biggest state sponsor of terrorism. It is true, right? I mean, think about all the money that we're giving. Look what's happening in Egypt. Look what we're doing, essentially giving the money to the Syrian rebels too. This is the whole thing is problematic.
Most of this is going to. I said yesterday, I haven't heard a single cleric or a head of state in a Muslim country say how bad 9/11 was or apologize for what's gone on. But their intelligence communities have been helpful to us, and that's where most of this money goes to. But having said that, I think that it outrages people. I can understand why you're outraged about it. I agree with Greg here. I would tell you that most of the families of people in prison are on welfare. And whether they're white, black, yellow, it doesn't matter.
Eric, the